For those of you that did watch my disaster painting, I'm going to let this baby go. I don't like it. It's too dark. I have mixed up so many bottles of paint, I've lost track of what I've really mixed, but I can give you a rough idea of what I've used. I am using Floetrol. I'm using 2 parts Floetrol to 1 part of the cheaper dollar store paints, the DecoArt and the Craft Smart. The Opus Essential Fluid paints are much more pigmented, and you don't need as much paint with that. So basically I'm just adding the paint until it's the color that I like. And I buy the big bottles of the Artist Loft Flow Acrylic when I want to do large paintings and backgrounds. So I always have a bottle of white and black on hand, and of course my torch for popping any bubbles. I then add water to all my paints so it's a thinner consistency, and as you can see it runs off the stick and doesn't form any mound. Very little mound when it hits the paint. I don't generally mix in the cups, I just mix right into my squeeze bottles because it's got the measurements on it. So I can put in 4 ounces of Floetrol, I can put in 2 more ounces of my paint, and then top with water to thin. And no silicone added. Also, I didn't mention my third choice of paint. If I'm doing a really large canvas like this, I do go to my local paint store and I ask for their mist tints. I go and have a look through their selection and pick colors that I can use. This one's got a gray tint on it, so I can use that. And this whole container is $5. So that will save you a lot of money rather than going to buy a paint, rather than buying a pint of paint from your art store. So this is going to be a real mixture. So far I've just got my Floetrol in there. I only had about this much paint in the can left, so I've poured that in there. And I'm just using up everything I've got in my silvers and metallic paints, and I'm adding it in. So here's some Silver Morning. That's going to go in. I have some DecoArt Silver left. Throw that in. I also have, I'm going really crazy with this mixture, I'll tell you. This one is a gloss enamel metallic. This is called using up what you have mixture. Everything but the kitchen sink. I have a few different tools I'm going to try using for my swipes. I'll just see what works the best. I've got a report cover that I've cut off the top, and this is the back side. The back side is not as rigid as the front, and this is yupo paper, so I was going to try that as well. Because this canvas is so big, I'm going to make it so I've got one section here which is a very kind of, I don't know, almost black, dark gray. But I'm only going to do 1/3 in the black because I don't want it to turn out real dark like this again. And the 2/3 up here, I'm going to use my gray silver mixture that I mixed up. So I will turn it around when it gets to that point for the swipes because it's just too hard to get all the way up to the top. So I'm not going to flood the whole canvas. I'm only going to flood this section here first, do my swipes, and then I'll flood this part. And on top of this dark gray, I'm going to add a little bit of the phthalo turquoise just to break this black up a little bit, and I'll just blend that in. So because I have not put my base coat up here, I'm only going to draw my line of paint for my swiping colors right into that black. I'm going to start with my report cover top, and I'm going to use my long edge here so I can get a nice big swipe. So I'll come up to the top of my swiping colors here and let that drop in. So you can see it's hitting on both sides. And let's bring that down very slowly. I'll let that clean up. I've got a J cloth down here, which I'm going to clean off my report card a little bit, just because I don't want a lot of black in here. So I'm going to overlap this, come back again. Clean it off. Overlap. All right, now I'm going to flood this rest of the canvas, the last of the 2/3, with my gray. Now I'm just going to work this up so it butts right up to my other colors. To match up my black side, I will put a row of black in here. I'm going to match up where a little bit of my rusty orange is, and I don't want it to take over the painting, but I just want that little bit of color to pop in, just to break up the grays and the silvers. Because I'm swiping quite a bit further, I'm going to be adding a little bit more paint up here. Now this time I'm going to try to lift up because I want negative space on the top here. I don't want the whole thing to be a swipe. So let's see how I do with that. I just need to angle my hands here so I can make sure that I can lift up okay at the end. This might be okay to go like this. We'll try. So I'll come into that black right up in there, right up into the last one. Make sure it drops on both sides. very slowly pull it through. I'm going to start to lift now and feather it out. This time I'm going to come up a little bit further. And lifting. So I lost some of the paint in here, which is, it's an okay effect. In here, I lifted up too soon and it didn't fade out. So I'm going to try to do a little bit more in here and here. And I think I want to lighten this up. So I'm going to drop a row of silver in here. And white. Now, instead of using my long side, I'm going to use my short side and come through and grab this one here. I didn't do the best up here. It's a long swipe to do. It's a little tricky. So I'm going to pull that one more time, see if I can lift up nicer on the bottom there, just to get a more feathery looking. Let's try that again. I can always fix this and add some more gray and pull some more gray in there, so I'm not worried about that right now. Let's come into this one here. So let's come in with some more gold. See if I can come up to here, and if I can't, I can come back in with some gray and fix that. I wasn't going to go for a lot of rust, but I'm kind of digging it, so I'm going to put more in. I don't like what's happening here, so I'm going to try one more little swipe down in here. Little piece here with some more gold. This is a piece of the yupo paper. Hopefully I don't really mess up now, so I'm going to pull through just to get rid of this. And come through with a little bit of a wider yupo paper and see how that works. And I'm going to come all the way up again. So much for my negative space, but there'll be some left over. think I'll leave this alone just so it's got some difference with some negative space here. And then I'll just have to come up and put a little bit more of that over here. Because I've put so much orange or rust and gold up here, I feel like I need to have a little bit more down in there now. So I'm going to turn it around. Okay, I'm going to bring this, copy this gold down to the back, down to the bottom here. I'm not fixing my mess. Okay, obviously this is not going to work like that. So I'm going to have to come back up again and just flood this whole thing with some more black. Would be the proper way to do it. Okay, so now I've got some more wet paint in there that I can drag through. Let's try that again. This is the challenges of a large painting, my dears. See if I can fix it. There we go. And now I just want to divide my two again. So I'm just going to come through, and I don't care if this is a straight line really, but I do want it divided. So I'm just going to come and follow along where my pattern is and just increase that thickness. Just watching where my pattern starts and ends. And look what I just did. I just dragged this through my painting. Oh my gosh. Can't believe I just did that. It's still wet, of course, and I'll take you down and I'll show you some close-ups, but I'll also show you when this is totally dry. You can see all the metallics showing through as well. See what that looks like when it's dry.